Okay, shall we get started then? So, welcome back to the Ruby Learning Center, and today we're going to be going back to our class on the complete guide to Rails performance. And today we'll be taking a look at section 6, which is Rack Mini Profiler, the secret weapon. So it starts out by mentioning that this tool is made by Sam Saffron and is a performance tool for Rack applications and can be used all the way over to production if you really wanted to. Let's see here. So we're going to be taking a look at that today. So book starts out by mentioning some of the gems you should be installing. I should probably just keep headers here. And then let's go over here. So Rack Mini Profiler starts out by mentioning having these gems over here. Let's put that over there. Okay, so we have all of those. So it's going through and explaining each one of these step by step. We don't really need to worry too much about this because it's Postgres or whatever other gems we might be happening to go over. Rack Mini Profiler, of course, is the one that we are looking at right now. Flame Graph is interesting. Well, the book mentions it'll go into flame graphs later. We'll also go into them a little bit later. StackProf being a stack profiler for trying to build flame graphs. Apparently only needed in Ruby 2.1 plus because it doesn't get included, but we'll fall back to FastStack if it's not there. And then memory profiler in the last position is there for GC features. Okay. So the book mentions find any old Rails application and run things on there. So let's see if we can get that running on the Ruby Gems side. Okay. There's probably some type of Elasticsearch or something I need to reboot or something like that. Okay, so we have that. I often use Alt-click or Option-click to get into stuff like this. So let's do that. Let's get that over here. And then it says to put question pp equal help. I believe that it's installed in here. Let's see here. Gem file, gem file, gem file. Should see a speed badge in the upper left. Let's double check the gem file real quick to make sure that's accurate. Okay, Dolly, where is the mini profiler? Okay, so Rack Mini Profiler is not in there. We will go ahead and add that then. We'll say all of our stuff. Put that in there. Okay, what all do we have in there? Let's grab these. Let's go ahead and get that installing real quick. A couple native extensions, that might take a moment. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, got that. There's probably some reason they removed it from the gem file, but I'm not going to worry too much about that for now. Okay, so that seems to be working. Let's reload that, see if it shows up. Ah, right. So there's the help menu, and there's this. Okay. So let's make that a little bit bigger for everyone. Okay, so we have get on localhost, action this, one SQL query on there, select API keys from there. So it can go over a lot of detail on here. Okay, so it can be enabled in production, but we're not going to worry too much about that. I wonder. Legacy fallback search. Okay. What was that Elasticsearch thingy? Rename that to Elasticsearch. Where did I go and put that? Because I remember explicitly that I did something as far as that. Fine. Run Docker, then run this. Are you alive, Docker? Yes, I know it's not open anymore. This is why we're opening it. While we wait for that to come up, let's see here. Docker. Shoo, don't need that. Don't need that either. Okay, so let's start that up, and then I think that will work. Okay, so that's working. Give that a second just to make sure that is running. Okay, I think that's going. Okay, searches show HTML. Those some bulk queries. Anyway, let's see what we got here. So it runs in development mode by default. It's going to enable it in production. Let's see here. And then in application controllers, that's where it's wanting us to be. Application controller right here. Great. Check rack menu profiler. And then we're just copying this out of the book. If we happen to have that. Let's see here. Then we're going to go over into the production settings of this. Let's see here, don't need that, don't need that. Config, environments, production. Force SSL. False for now because we don't have that running a local host. And then let's see here. We'll just put this up over here. Okay, so we got that. run that in production real quick to make sure that actually works. Actually, where are the scripts there? Because I could have sworn there was some magical thing to clone a bunch of data. Okay, so there's one. I wonder how long that would take. Probably a while. Okay, I am not going to try and mess with that. So we're not going to run in production mode. Now, what this does mention is if you are running it in production mode, make sure it doesn't have actual access to your production database to where it can do bad things. Okay. So while we're waiting for that, okay. Let's give that a second to refresh the database. Migrations, etc. Well, that's a bit involved. Yeah, we'll give that a second. Okay. Well, that's fun. Well, let's ignore that for now. Okay. Get stash, get pull, bundle, get stash, pop, bundle again. Okay, looks like we're going to be doing a little bit of debugging on this one. And where was that thing about force download the new one? Let's see what we got here. Don't care about all that. Don't care about all that. Actually, that is... So it's right above the migrations. Well, let's download this real quick. I really do love the new generation of internet. It's much, much quicker. Okay, so let's see here. We got that loaded. Now we can do that. Yeah. probably do that and then do that. Okay, yeah. That way it's not adding a bunch of extra stuff. Jeez. Okay. Home downloads, and we're looking for public Postgre. Okay. So for whatever reason, we didn't have a download, which is why that would have failed. Okay. Now let's try that. Well, that makes sense why it failed. We don't even have the file. I'm surprised it didn't check that exists first. Actually, what is that doing? That is a lot of bash I'm not entirely compelled to read. Okay. Setup sometimes. Okay. So as soon as that's done, we'll jump back into this a little bit. Meantime, glasses are smudged. Worst case, I'm going to find another Rails application. I'm going to have it that. Probably Discourse or something. I think Discourse has that automatically. I might look that up in a new tab just in case. Okay. Discourse GitHub. Okay. So we have that. We have that. Rails performance. Git clone that. Bundle that. Well, that's waiting. This way we have a few options. I do love gigabit internet sometimes. I should probably do a shallow clone next time though, but I can never remember that command. That might be a bit. Helps if I can actually spell. Bundle on that. That's still going. Place your bets. Which one finishes first? I am slightly betting on Discourse right now. And if so, we'll make it work. Actually, does Discourse magically have a recommending profiler? Probably. Gem file. Okay, good. This one does. Always have a plan B. I tell myself as I'm working on plan B. I really should thank Mike and them for making Okigiri into a binary like that. That was really, really great improvement. Ooh, Binding of Color. I haven't seen that one in a while. That's going to take a second. Nope, still going with indexes. And still going with gem file. One of you has to finish eventually. Okay, so that's still going. Let's see if we can get something going instead. Rack Mini Profiler. Up. There we go. Get that. Let's see what we have in here. Ooh, okay. Let's see if Rails server works on this one. Hope so. We'll see if there's some README thing which tells me this is a bad idea. Do we have Redis installed? I should have Redis installed. Was it brew run? I think it's brew run. Brew start maybe? Worst case I'll Google in a second. Always take a look at these things. Brew services start. Nope, I'm not gonna run that. Okay, so we have Redis going there. Oh, hey, that worked. Now we can do Rails server here. Okay, so it turns out Ruby Gems won. A surprise reversal. There we go. Well, we'll keep that on just in case. Let's see what we got here. Aha! There we go. So now we can take a look at this. Okay, so Rack Mini Profiler, just taking a look at some of this stuff. Rendering, searches show HTML. So going down the list of what the book mentions are things like how many SQL queries am I generating? Right now, it looks like 1, 4, 5, and 6, 7. So 54% of the time of this page is spent in SQL. What's the total request time? Response is about 5-ish seconds. What percent of time in SQL? How long until DOM content loaded? Let's see here. So anything there would be front-end optimization on DOM content loaded events. And then are there parts of pages taking an extreme amount of time compared to others, like a single partial lookup? Let's see here. So first paint and DOM content loaded are more front-end oriented, whereas response is more oriented towards Rails. Show trivial. DOM complete. So those are all the other stages of that. Kaminari, so that's pagination stuff, and that's not taking too long. Searches, aggregations. If we were to take a look at this, okay. Let's see here. And if we put and pp equal flame graph, okay. So I don't need that anymore. I do need this to be bigger because that's real small. Okay. I was actually using some of these. So this is going to be time order of what exactly are the exact steps that are going. Like we have the server starts the thread and it goes all the way over towards eventually. Come on. So time order I've never found very useful. I tend to more of use left heavy. And left heavy is saying, let's take all the requests that are the heaviest and put them on the far left of this thing. So let's say we have this right here. The start thread is taking 2.74 seconds. Inside of there, let's see where it starts dropping off. Okay, so we have Omni. Yeah, it's being a little bit slow. PG exec params. So that's Postgres, which means that something in the database here is taking a while, which is, well, a query, honestly. If we do sandwich time over here, we're going to see that our hottest path is going to be again, kind of that flame graph. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay. Yeah, I can't make it too much bigger than that. Yeah, everything else, it's almost all completely in Postgres right here. So we are working on Rack Mini Profiler and flame graphs of rubygems.org. So let's go ahead and minimize discourse here. We're not going to need that. We are over in rubygems.org working with their production data set. And right now, the query that we're effectively doing is, let's take this, put that, take that off. We are looking through searching for a gem named QO, which is something I made forever ago. Okay. So advanced search currently unavailable. I'm betting it's something I misconfigured with Elasticsearch. I'm not going to mess with that too much. what we're doing is we're looking through the slash search URL at the SQL queries, and the book mentioned next that there's this flame graph over here that helps us see where most of the time is being taken, which is primarily right here in Postgres. Okay. So we have that for flame graphs. Yeah, in flame graphs, most of the time order is not going to be what I need. It's going to be either left heavy, which is what things are taking the most time, or more likely sandwich view, which is what's taking the collective most time because this tends to aggregate those. So we have flame graph, we have that, and then let's go to profile GC. And then see what that gives us. Internal server error. Okay. I am not going to try and figure that out. There's probably some versioning issues somewhere in there. I'm going to leave that as an exercise to the reader. Okay, so we're not getting too much there. Let's take a look at profile memory and see if that works. Okay, there we go. So 30,000 objects. And a lot of this happens to be up in Active Support, Active Record, Action Pack, Sprockets. Sprockets, of course, being front end. Nokigiri, which is going to be a lot of our HTML elements. JSON, so there's a lot of serialization going there. Active Model, Rack, Ruby Gems, etc., 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 all the way down here. Backtrace Cleaner. Okay, so a lot of memory going through there, a lot of memory going through XML documents, which is how do you handle and process the HTML in there. Okay. And then analyze memory is the new one that's in there. Let's see what we got on that. 1,000 largest strings. Okay, so jQuery in its entirety is being loaded into strings. It's probably Sprocket somewhere in there. Ooh, that's what in the world is this? That's fun. Wonder where that's coming from. Well, there's that, and then there's this entire regular expression. Where's this coming from? There's probably some reasoning for that, but man, nope, I am not going to try and figure out what exactly those are. Okay. So that brings through some of the basic options of Rack Mini Profiler. Honestly, I would probably be using the flame graph in most cases just to see what exactly is happening. That's going to give us the highest level view of what's going on. Whereas, well, highest level would be this actual batch right here, which is just, I need some basic details. The most useful to me typically going to be flame graph, which is what's the heaviest if I tend to do stuff. That's how I found things like that weird G sub issue earlier or some other issues like that. It's kind of something in here has to be taking more line share of time. What is it? Where is it? Why is it? And who calls it? If instead it's fairly even, you don't see any real significant outliers, like right here, you can definitely tell the outlier is going to be Postgres, which means it's spending a lot of time in SQL. Well, there's nothing really help that. You can't do much, so not true. There might be some things you can do with there as far as indexes or other stuff like that, but That means the optimization is going to be on SQL side rather than anything else. Anyways, so probably a lot that you can do with these things, but if you're looking for immediates, I would say either use the flame graph or use the profiler right here to try and figure out what you're looking for. And of course, the thing is, don't just do this with one type of thing. Try and do this with a couple of pages just to see, does this hold across a couple of different instances, or is this just an isolated case of one instance? A lot of this triage work is kind of write down what happens in various circumstances to try and find out why in the world something happens to be slow in certain areas. But for me, a lot of this stuff on performance tends to be far more around this is slow and I don't like this is slow. Why is this slow? And then trying to figure out, is that something worth pursuit, or is this an area which I'm just going to dunk a whole lot of time? Sometimes the answer is yes, it is slow and it does need some work. Other times I'll slowly set something back down and say, I'm going to leave this alone for someone else because it's not worth the investment time right now. Knowing the difference, well, that takes a little bit. But I think that is all we have with the book today, except for a few labs. And then we'll be looking into profiling Ruby memory usage here in a couple of weeks when we come back to this class. So back over to here. Do we have any questions about some of the stuff that was covered today? If not, we can go ahead and call class there, but this was more of a high-level overview of what exactly Rack Mini Profiler does. Okay. Yep, and no worries. If you join midway or anything like that, and you do need to ask questions afterwards, we do have the Discord channel. You can find us on rubylearning.dev, and it'll have links to that. Happy to answer questions anytime on that. Or the book also came with a Slack channel where you can ask additional questions. So if you are ever confused by any of this stuff, feel free to ask because secret, don't tell anyone, especially not my job. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I make it up. I hope it works, as evidenced by me trying to get a second application going while this was happening. So it's okay not to know what's going on. I mean, most people don't. It's just some people are better liars about it than others. What it comes down to is the ability to explore, the ability to find things out, and the ability to tinker a little bit until you find something interesting. And sometimes that means asking for help from someone who knows what they're doing. In this case, I kind of know what I'm doing. Other people might know more, but we can always figure it out together, and that's the fun of it. Anyways, we will go ahead and call it there. Thank you all for coming out, and we'll be back to effective RSpec next week, and then skipping back to this class the week afterwards. I'm doing in either or because it turns out trying to run 2 classes in a row was not exactly very healthy, so we learned lessons. We keep going. Well, thank you all for your time and have a great day.